Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest Aiming Higher homework video. To start off with this week, I want you to try and answer the 3 questions and see if you can work out what the link is between the 3 of them. Pause the video and have a go. Now, of course, the thing that these questions all have in common is they're all actually about doing the inverse, finding the original number by reversing calculations. If you have a look at the first one, 20% of a number is 60. Well, to find 20%, I would need to divide by 5 to get to 60. So to undo that, I'll need to multiply by 5 to go the other way, and of course that will get me 300. For the second example, I think of a number, quarter it, and then add 3, and that gets me to 3.5. Well, before I added 3, my number must have been 0.5 if I take that 3 away. And then 0.5, if I multiply it by 4, rather than dividing it by 4, it'll give me 2. I can check that 2 divided by 4 is 0.5, add 3, 3.5. Again, in the final example, I'll need to do the opposite, the inverse. What was the number before I divided it by 2.5? I'll multiply it by 2.5 to get me to my answer, which is 15. How many 2.5s in 15? 6. Now, have a go at these 4 questions and think about the operation that you need to do to find the missing values. I'm sure that you've realised that the order in which the numbers are positioned in subtractions and divisions is significant in terms of the operation you use. Here, I would need to undo taking away 17, so I'll have 100. Essentially, I'll have to add the 17 to the 83. Whereas in the second example, 32 subtract a number makes 14. That means the difference between 32 and this number must be 14. In effect, I have to do 32 take 14 to get my answer, 18. Now, on the third example, again, I'll need to do the inverse. What must that number have been before I divided by 8 to get to 12? Well, it must have been 96. I have to do 8 times 12. And on the final example, I would be saying, well, how many lots of this number are there in 6? And there are 4, so I actually need to do 6 divided by 4, and split 6 into 4 pieces, half it and it'll be 3, half it again and it'll be 1.5. And there are 4 1.5s in 6. Now, when you're trying to answer this worded question, see if you can take the important information, write it out as if it's a calculation, and then do the inverse to find the answer. Pause the video and have a go. So your attempt should have looked a little bit like this when you wrote it out. You can't remember how much money he won, but he spent 5 on the bottle of wine, so you need to take that away. Half is of course the same as dividing by 2, and then he took away that £200 to give 150. So when we reverse that, I have to think, well, how much did he have before he gave away that £200? That would be 350. I would have to double the 350 to get to 700, to get to the final step, and then of course to undo the taking away 5, I'll have to add 5 to get me to £705. Now of course to check that's right, I'd have to run it through the original question. He spent £5 of that 105 on a bottle of wine, that's 700. Half of what was left on a Bolton Wanderers season ticket, that leaves 350. £200 away to charity, and that does leave 150. It's got to be correct. For this question, see if you can use the Singapore bar to help you. You need to consider your use of equivalent fractions too. Pause the video and have a go. Now, first of all, I'd want to work out what a half plus an eighth is. So if I get that fraction into the same denominators, into eighths, I'll be able to work it out. 4 eighths plus an eighth is 5 eighths. So essentially, I know that 5 eighths of a number is 30. So that's the Singapore bar showing that 30 is 5 eighths. 1 eighth, therefore, has got to be 6. And 8 eighths must be 8 lots of 6, 48. Once again, you can see we've done an inverse here to find the original number. Now, using the techniques we've practiced, see if you can manage to answer the final question. So the first job is to lay the information out that's been given. Then I need to do the inverse of multiplying by 2, the last step. Negative 6 divided by 2 will be negative 3. Then undo the effect of taking the 7 away by adding 7 back on to give me 4. And finally, working out what the number must have been before it was multiplied by 2 by dividing by 2 to give me my answer of 2. And now I've got the crucial checking phase. 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, subtract 7 is negative 3, and 2 lots of negative 3 is negative 6, which works out. Well done, and we'll rehearse everything here in class.